I've told my agents and my representation there are certain things I'm not going to do. There are certain stereotypes I'm not going to continue to perpetuate. So don't even submit me for the roles. I'm not interested. It's almost like it's a purposeful thing. I've got to
Beautiful
get
melanin goddess that's before me. Hello.
Coming up on another act, I chat with Stephen Bishop about his art, his activism, and his new role in Starz's Run the World.
Hi, how are you doing, Stephen?
Hi, Kelly. How are you? I'm well, thank you. How are you?
You know, I can't complain too much, but I want to start here. You are one of those unique souls who acted, but you also are a former athlete. At what point did you realize that acting was a journey that you wanted to go down?
I took a drama course in college while I was still obviously playing baseball, and it was an elective course. I needed an arts class for my requirements, and I took it because when I was young, I was always a performer. I like to, memorize stand-up comic routines and perform them for my parents and things, their friends, and that kind of thing. So I took the drama course, and the professor told me, you're pretty good at this. You might want to consider doing this for a living. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to play baseball, and I'm going to be a pro. And he's like, well, you never know, keep it in your back pocket. You never know what can happen. It's always, and at that point I said, you know what, he's right. I could do this after baseball is over. And, and I did enjoy it. And I always knew from that moment that it would be something that I would do when baseball was over.
What do you get from acting that maybe you weren't, especially at the time you were playing baseball, that you weren't getting from the sport?
Baseball was a physical skill that, a lot of repetition, the same thing over and over and over to perfect your craft. And acting is very different. You don't do the same thing over and over and over. You do a lot of different things to perfect your craft. It's like a more well-rounded activity. It's like being a decathlete as opposed to just a single sport athlete, because in acting, you're doing a lot of different things, maybe not as many times over and over and over, but just getting very familiar. And that's the level of perfection that you're looking at.
Yeah. At what point did you feel like I'm an actor? Was it a particular role where you said, I'm no longer being seen as a former athlete who's transitioned into this world. I now feel comfortable that I'm being seen as Stephen Bishop, the actor?
That happened very early. The first film that I did, I played a baseball player. I played a basketball player turned baseball player. So at that point, I was still what you just described. Yeah. But when Mara Brock-Akil gave me the opportunity to play Alex Mendoza on Girlfriends, and I used that Spanish accent, that's when I knew and when I felt that I was really an actor. I was doing something completely out of my comfort zone. I was not playing. I mean, he was a baseball player, sure. Yeah. But he was not playing baseball. And, having the Spanish accent and having to act with an already established cast on Girlfriends, Golden Brooks in particular, that's when it felt to me like it was really real. Like I was really doing something that wasn't kind of a layup for me.
Yeah. One of the common threads that I find with a lot of the credits that you've had over the years is that they all are high achieving Black men. And I don't know if you are specifically looking for roles that we don't consistently across the board see ourselves in, or if that's just the way that things have worked out. But can you talk a little bit about that? Because it feels intentional in some ways.
It's funny that you say that, because it is intentional. Not so much where I've said let's go look for these high achieving Black male roles, but the other way. I've told my agents and my representation there are certain things I'm not going to do. There are certain stereotypes I'm not going to continue to perpetuate. So don't even submit me for the roles. I'm not interested. By that elimination, this body of work has been created. And I have been fortunate to get a lot of roles that have been high achieving guys. I think it's been a function of a couple of different approaches to my career. And fortunately, I've been, afforded the opportunity to do a lot of the things that I've enjoyed.
Yeah. Which of course brings us to the series on Starz, where you play a professor who also is a single dad. And that's not something that we often see a portrayal of, I think, in TV series. Was that one of the things that you gravitated towards, and what made this character right for you?
Yeah, that was very much one of the things that I liked about Matthew. It was really cool that it was like, wow, this guy is so established and successful in his career. He's also taken on this responsibility of having sole custody of his daughter. You know what I mean? And that made him a relatable character, but also a bit of an anomaly. Because, like you said, we don't see that much. This system doesn't afford that very often. You know what I mean? It's something really has to be going wrong with the mother's side for that to be the case. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something that I liked about the character. I thought it provided a really good layer for him, and an opportunity for us to see different facets of his manhood. You know what I mean? The regimented professor who's really studied and learned, and then the softer just girl dad. You know what I mean? And I thought that was kind of cool that you get to see that kind of dichotomy.
Yeah. Are we seeing a little bit of you in this as well?
Yeah. I have kids. I'm not a single parent, but I do have kids, and I do have a daughter. So I was able to draw a lot of the emotional connection to Amari, who is played by Ellie Rain, who is a fantastic young actress. I was able to draw a lot of that connection and that emotion from my own relationships with my kids and specifically my daughter.
So much has happened over the course of the last year. Do you feel like things are moving in the right direction with regards to social justice and the issues that are most important to you?
Well, you start to feel like they are, and then things happen that make you say, okay, no, they're not. You start with the Derek Chauvin case, we think we make progress, and then that very same day, 2 more Black people are shot and killed. And so it's like every time we take just a little tiny step forward, we're pulled backwards, and it's almost like it's a purposeful thing. So as much as I would like to see progress and claim progress is being made, realistically, it's not. I mean, we're spinning our wheels. We're in an oil slick, and our wheels are just continuing to spin because we've got a certain group of people who would not see that progress be made under any circumstances. And I've said this before, especially when it comes to race and racism. We've got 3 types of people in the world. We've got racists, we've got non-racists, and we've got anti-racists. The non-racists are the biggest group. And until those non-racists become anti-racists, we're going to continue to spin our wheels. Until the non-racists in the middle turn to the racists and say, hey, look, you guys are making it bad for everybody. And you're making us as non-racists look bad because we're being lumped in with your group. And the reason that they're being lumped in is because they're not speaking up. And now we are, and this is one way that a lot of progress is being made. We are seeing allies start to turn and speak up. So I can say in that regard, there is a lot of progress being made. And I'll take the time to thank all of the non-racist white allies who have become anti-racist around the world and who have marched in the streets, with the George Floyd situation sparking their activism. So thank you guys, that are watching for that. We appreciate you, we see you, and we need you. So if you can create more people like yourselves, it'll benefit the world. Imagine what the world would be like if racism stopped existing and we could get past it, because we're not living up to our fullest potential as a country because we can't get past race. And again, you take it from a sports aspect. You may feel how you feel about race and racism, but once you get on the field, you put all that aside and you play together towards the common goal, and that's where championships are won. I'm sure that on championship teams there are guys who don't necessarily care for people of a certain demographic, but between the lines, I'll fight for you like a brother, and that's how we're going to win. We have to be able to get past that. I mean, it's a huge hurdle that we have got to get over, and I'm hoping that we get over it in my lifetime. But again, until our allies start to show up and really make it known that they are not going to tolerate it anymore, until that happens, I fear we just spin our wheels.
Well, that was wonderful. You're a professor in a TV series and in real life. Thank you so much for that, Stephen Bishop. I do appreciate you.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, Kelly.